There are people who scream for help, and then there are people who suffer so quietly that no one ever notices. This is not a story about noise, it is a story about silence. The kind of silence that grows inside a child. The kind that teaches you, slowly, that your pain does not matter. That your presence is optional. That being invisible is safer than being rejected. This is the story of a boy everyone ignored. Ethan learned very early how to be quiet, not because he wanted to be, but because silence seemed to make life easier for everyone else. At home, noise meant trouble. Noise meant his mother sighing heavily, her eyes tired before the day had even begun. Noise meant his father's sharp look, the kind that said, "Not now, not you." So Ethan learned to move softly. He learned how to close doors without a sound, how to eat without clinking his spoon against the bowl, how to exist without being noticed. Sometimes he wondered if his parents would notice if he disappeared for a day. He never tested that thought. At school, it was the same. Teachers remembered the loud ones, the smart ones, the troublesome ones. Ethan was none of those. He sat at the back of the classroom, shoulders slightly hunched, eyes lowered. When his name was called, his heart jumped as if he had done something wrong. Every time, he wanted to speak. He wanted to raise his hand, but something inside him whispered, Don't draw attention, don't take space, don't become a problem." So he stayed quiet, and the world accepted his silence as permission to ignore him. Dinner time was the loudest part of the day, not because people talked, but because the television was always on. His father watched the news, his mother scrolled through her phone. Ethan chewed his food carefully, staring at his plate. No one asked how his day was. Sometimes Ethan imagined interrupting, "Mom, Dad, something happened today." But the words never came out. What if they were busy? What if they didn't care? What if they sighed again? So he swallowed his words along with his food. After dinner, he washed his plate quietly and went to his room. His room was small, but it was the only place where he felt like he existed. He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the muffled sounds of life happening without him. Laughter from the TV, footsteps in the hallway, doors opening, doors closing. No one knocked, no one ever knocked. School was supposed to be a place of learning. For Ethan, it was a place of survival. He was not bullied. That would have required someone to notice him. Instead, he was forgotten. Group projects were the worst. Teams formed quickly, laughter filling the room. Ethan was always the extra one. The teacher would sigh and say, "Ethan, just join any group." Any group never wanted him. He would sit quietly while others talked over him, decisions made without his input. When the project succeeded, no one thanked him. When it failed, no one blamed him. He was invisible either way. During recess, he sat alone on a bench, watching other children run past him. Sometimes he wondered what it felt like to belong somewhere. Sometimes he wondered if something was wrong with him. Silence can be heavy. People think silence is empty, but Ethan knew better. Silence was full of unspoken thoughts, unanswered questions, feelings with nowhere to go. At night, those feelings grew louder. Lying in bed, Ethan replayed every moment where he could have spoken. Every time he chose silence instead, his chest felt tight, his throat burned, he wanted to cry, but even tears felt unnecessary. Why would anyone care, he thought, so he learned to push everything down, and it worked, until it didn't. One day, a new student arrived. Her name was Maya. She sat 2 rows ahead of Ethan. She smiled easily. She talked to people like she had known them forever. For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt something unfamiliar. Hope. During group work, Maya looked at him and said, "What do you think?" The question caught him off guard. His heart raced. Someone had noticed him. He opened his mouth, voice shaky. "I think maybe we should try it this way." She listened. She nodded. "That's a good idea," she said. Those words stayed with him all day. Someone had listened. Someone had cared. For a moment, the world felt lighter. But hope is fragile. A few weeks later, Maya stopped coming to school. No explanation, no goodbye. Her desk stayed empty. No one talked about it. Ethan wanted to ask where she went, but he didn't. Silence felt safer again. The light he had felt faded, and the darkness returned, heavier than before. Because now he knew what he was missing. The breaking point did not come suddenly, it came quietly, like everything else in Ethan's life. One evening, his father walked past him without looking up. His mother forgot to pick him up from school. Again, he waited outside as the sky darkened. No calls, no messages, just silence. Something inside him cracked. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. That night, Ethan sat on his bed, staring at the wall. For the first time, he thought, what if I wasn't here anymore? The thought scared him, but it also felt peaceful. The idea of not being ignored anymore, because there would be nothing left to ignore. He didn't act on it, but the thought stayed. Ethan began writing, not essays, not homework, letters. Letters he never planned to send. He wrote about how lonely he felt, how tired he was of being invisible, how much it hurt to feel unwanted. Writing became his only voice. On paper he could exist. He could scream without making noise. He hid the letters under his mattress. No one knew. No one asked. One day, a teacher found Ethan crying in the bathroom. Not loud crying, quiet crying, the kind that breaks your heart if you notice it. She sat beside him. She didn't rush. She didn't judge. She just said, "You don't have to be strong all the time." That sentence shattered him. For the first time, he told someone how he felt. Not everything, but enough. Enough to be heard, enough to be seen. It wasn't a miracle. Life didn't suddenly become perfect, but small things changed. His parents started paying attention, slowly, awkwardly. The teacher checked on him. Ethan still struggled, but he learned something important. Silence protects pain, but it also feeds it. Speaking didn't make everything better, but it made survival possible. Some victims don't cry for help. They disappear quietly. They sit in classrooms unnoticed. They eat dinner in silence. They sleep with heavy thoughts no one sees. Ethan survived, many don't. So listen, to the quiet ones, to the ignored ones, to the silent victims, because sometimes being heard once is enough to save a life.